It's an endangered species here on the peninsula. Oh, look at that. Ah, got my finger. That's venom, of course. And look at the way it's flattening its ribs. Oh, don't do that, please. It's flattening its ribs to actually look like a cobra, which is why it gets its common name of false water cobra. This is the most beautiful. So, look at the markings on this. And there. Oh, please don't do that. Oh, dear me. Look, we're going to let you go in a minute. That hurts a bit, and I don't want to pull your head away from my hand. See, it's chewing on there. This is painful. The snake must be slightly venomous. Please let go. Please let go, Mr. Snake. And these feed not on wildlife presenters, of course, on frogs and small fish and amphibians. But I say it's a great chance to see how beautiful it is. The problem now is actually getting it off. And really you can't do it. I don't want to pull too hard, because if I do that, it could damage the snake's teeth. I want it to actually let me go, and then I'll let him go. There we go. Thank you very much. And again, I'm going to put him go, let him go. And beautiful. Wow. That gave me a good fight there.
Didn't hurt as much as it looked, and you know, other than in this country, it's very, very difficult to get wildlife shows on in China or on in America or on in all the other countries that my shows are shown. My shows are shown in 50 countries. They like seeing snakes, and I always sneak in birds and conservation stories, but otherwise the shows would not be seen unless you had some of that action, I suppose you could call it, action and drama. But then, of course, we include all of the birds and all of the conservation stories. And that really didn't hurt. I knew that the snake was a venomous one. It wasn't set up at all. I'd actually found that when we were filming macaws in the Pantanal in Brazil, and that was the result. And in fact, the next day I had a slightly swollen hand because it was mildly venomous. It's what's known as a back fang snake, so the venom is right at the back of its mouth. So if it gets a good grip and chews, it can actually inject some venom. But otherwise, it's you know, it is not a dangerous snake. So that was why I escaped unscathed from that. But you know, what I actually want to do and love doing is making films about birds. And as I said before, the children always ask from Prehistoric Park, what's your favourite dinosaur? Well, T-Rex are great, but I think if we could bring back a dinosaur to the 21st century, there's enough problems about letting wolves or beavers go in Scotland. So just imagine if you brought back a T-Rex and let that go somewhere in Europe or America. So, but this would be a good one if you could bring it back. It's called Microraptor. It was a Chinese dinosaur around about 75 million years ago, and it had feathers, it had 4 wings, and it used to glide from tree to tree. One of the ancestors of modern birds, and that would have been a great species of dinosaur to bring back. But this is what I actually love doing, watching birds. And 18 months ago I had a fantastic opportunity to make a series about the wildlife of Colombia. It's a country that's twice the size of France. Until very recently, if you said you were going to Colombia, people would say, please don't go there, it's dangerous, there's terrorist groups or whatever. That has changed radically. It's a very, very safe country to go to now in the last 5 years. And everyone wants to go there because if you add up all the fish, reptiles, amphibians, birds and mammals, it's got more vertebrate species than any other country on Earth. 1,900 species of birds live in Colombia. If you think of the world total of around 10,000, it's an extraordinary country with fantastic habitats. This is the Andes. The Andes splits into 3 in Colombia. Fantastic birds there. You'll see in the series, I haven't got clips of it now, the bearded helmet crest, which is a fabulous high altitude hummer, one of the best on the planet. Of course, there's the Amazon rainforest there as well in Colombia, where you can see wonderful species of primates, wonderful birds there. And one of the shows in the series is called Lands of the Anaconda, because there's also the Llanos there, which is a ranch land, which is flooded 3 or 4 times for half of the year, in fact. And that is a home of anacondas too. You think of the Llanos being in Venezuela, but actually there's fantastic grasslands that flood in Colombia. So all in all, it really is a tremendous country. It's the only South American nation to have a Caribbean and a Pacific coast. We've done one film about the Pacific where you can see humpback whales and extraordinary reptiles and birds. One film about the Caribbean. This is the Barranquilla Carnival, which is the second largest carnival on earth. Only Rio is bigger than this. It happens in the 4 days before Lent, and it's an extremely colourful festival. And people always ask how many people go away with you. Well, it's not. Our films are very different from the big budget BBC films. We try to get as nice sequences. But the only people that go are myself, a cameraman and a sound recorder. So I direct myself when we're in the film, and it means, you know, when there's an animal around, I can try to get behind it and we can try to get the 2 shots. But there's me watching birds. The cameraman behind the camera there, you'll see him in a moment, is a guy called Mike Hutchinson, and he really loves birds, and as you can see in a moment, got some tremendous footage. Now, the first episode of Colombia is about looking for hummingbirds in the Andes. There are 162 species of hummingbirds in Colombia. That's over half of the world's total species of hummingbird. This is quite a common one called the sparkling violet here. But you are going to see a place in a minute called the Enchanted Garden, which is 1 hour from Bogota, and it literally has a blizzard of hummingbirds coming to the feeders. We filmed in slow motion there. This is our slow motion camera next to the feeders. The lady there, Leonore, has dedicated her house and her garden to hummingbirds. She has to fill up those feeders 3 times a day. You'll see, I say in the sequence, that the hummingbirds have 300 kilograms of sugar every month. That's 3 times my weight in sugar. So it's an incredible spectacle. This is the high-speed camera we used. Obviously, hummingbirds' wings beat 50 to 80 beats every second. So it's incredibly fast to see what's going on. We had this camera to slow the action down 100 times. They fly like no other birds, which is of course why they can hover. They produce power on both the upstroke and the downstroke. The net result of that is they can suspend themselves in mid-air as if they're on an invisible thread and do this incredible humming behaviour. Cy Wagan was the cameraman for this specific thing. You can see the camera uses so much light. Unless it was a very sunny day, we had to light the hummingbirds on the feeders to get the amazing images that you're going to see in a minute. And as Tim said at the beginning, we only finished this on Thursday. These came straight from Bristol, where we make the films, and nobody in the whole world has seen this. There's finished pictures, finished music. This is what you'll see on the Eden channel later in the year, but it was a great opportunity for a subject like this, mainly featuring birds. The Birdfair was the best place to show all you enthusiasts for the first time, the very first time, this world premiere of hummingbirds in Colombia. In Colombia, the mighty Andes split into 3 ranges. San Francisco, on the west slope of the eastern range, is my first stop. The Enchanted Garden is on the outskirts of the town. Leonore Pardo has dedicated her life and home to hummers. She replenishes the sugar water in over 30 feeders 3 times a day. She's invited me here so I can really get acquainted with these tiny birds, most no bigger than my thumb. This is an astonishing spectacle. There's a blizzard of hummingbirds. 23 species visit regularly. All of the hummers here in the Enchanted Garden consume more than 300 kilograms of sugar every single month. That's over 3 times my weight. Living life at this breakneck pace requires an enormous intake of calories.
Hummers need 1.5 times their weight in sugar water every day. My daughter Ella, she's nearly 4 now, adores butterfly kisses. Got a flick of my eyelids close to her face. The touch is so soft, it's like a butterfly's wings. I would love to feel the fluttering wings of a hummingbird next to my face. And there is a way I can make it happen. Many nectar-rich flowers are scarlet. So I'll do this. Then, as a finishing touch, see what happens. The plastic flower between my lips is filled with sugar water. I'm hoping one of my new friends will be tempted to drink from this unusual bloom. An indigo-capped hummingbird. In neighbouring Brazil, they call hummingbirds beija-flor, which means flower kisser. You can see why. That was wonderful. I could feel the breeze from the hummingbird's wings on my cheek. Only a hummer could produce a breeze in that way. No other birds can fly like they do. But because they average an unbelievable 50 to 60 wing beats per second, it's hard to see what's going on, unless you slow down the flight over 100 times. They, alone among birds, generate lift with both the forward and backward strokes of their wings. This allows them to stay suspended in one place, to hover. Their precision flying is also unique amongst birds. Hummers can do complete barrel rolls, fly backwards, even upside down. These manoeuvres are powered by flight muscles that are 1/4 of the bird's weight. This avian aerobat is the hummer that fed from my lips, a bedazzling indigo cat.
So